Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 10-game NBA main slate on Friday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. If you guys are not able to watch these videos, I do upload an Apple Podcast. I have a link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. If you guys are interested in signing up for premium content, I'll offer that on patreon.com. A couple different packages, also linked down below. And I want to thank Prize Picks for sponsoring this show. If this is your first time watching the videos and you're not familiar with what Prize Picks is, well, it's a site where you're kind of taking over-unders on fantasy points. So for tomorrow, Domantas Sabonis, 46 fantasy points. Do you like the under? Do you like the over? That's basically the idea. They have NFL. They have stuff already up for the Super Bowl here. You can mix and match sports. Again, NBA, PGA. They have esports too. So they have everything. If you guys want to sign up, you can use the code DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word. Link down below. You get a 100% match up to $100. So you put $100 in, you get $200 to play with. It's a win-win. And then finally, I want to give you guys a big thank you because now hit the 8,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. Never thought I would get that many subscribers. So really cannot thank you guys enough. If you do enjoy this content, please leave a like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos you don't like live. As always, I'll be doing the free live stream on YouTube before lock to over everything, answer all your guys' questions. So make sure to check out the live stream tomorrow, guys. And let's aim for 200 likes on this video. With that all out of the way, let's jump into the video. So before we talk about players and the prices for this 10-game slate, we can look back my lineup here from Thursday's slate. And Thursday was a really, really low-scoring slate. It was just trying to avoid landmines because there are landmines literally everywhere. At the top, in the mid-range, for value. Right, for example, Javon Carter in the tournament I was in, I didn't play him. He was 30% owned. I didn't think he was a terrible play because he was playing about 20 minutes a game off the bench and he was close to mid-priced. He just randomly got a DNP and that sunk my showdown lineup because I had a good showdown lineup with him in it. I was just wow, I feel your pain if you went to Carter because he was 30% owned. Let's look at my lineup. So I obviously had some snowflakes as well, like everyone on this slate. Going over the plays, Lillard, it was Lillard and LeBron that were obviously, the plays at the top, the safe plays. Both were solid, but not amazing. Lillard went for 49. I forget what LeBron went for. I think he went over 50. So Kendrick Nunn, I was going back and forth on Kendrick Nunn and Reggie Jackson versus Hero and Terrence Mann. That's kind of how I was getting different, was using the guards in the Clippers and the Heat game. I ended up switching to Nunn and Jackson. Ended up hurting me a little bit because Hero, I think, went for 40 and Mann, I think, went for over 20. So just cannot get Kendrick Nunn right. He was 50% owned this tournament, and yeah, he was a bust. Kuzma was the chalk hit, right? 77% owned. I thought he was the best value play on the board, and it wasn't close. Melo could have been way better here. Only 40% owned. He shot 3 of 15. Really, Carmelo. Where I think I made a mistake here was talking about it with people in my Discord. Montrezl Harrell. Now, obviously, this is super tilting because he was averaging, about mid-20s fantasy points with Anthony Davis in. Anthony Davis out. Obviously, he gets a bump up, and it's a good matchup, and he just lays an egg. So, where I think I made the mistake here was I think I should have played Mason Plumlee over him. And I don't even think that's being results-oriented. Mason Plumlee was $1,000 cheaper, and both were projected to play about, mid to high 20s minutes. So it's both are decent point per minute guys. I don't know why. I mean, I told you guys Plumlee was my favorite play in the Pistons, but should have played him over Harrell, and I think that's just a mistake. 100%, I think I made a mistake in that one. Was really high in Harrell, and he busted. Now, 15 fantasy points in this spot with no AD is absolutely his floor, but it's the way it goes sometimes. Reggie Jackson was solid, a low ownership. Markieff Morris was a bust. He was 40% owned. I was debating with him or THT. THT was obviously the riskier option, but he did better. And then DeAndre Ayton, that game blew out. He did not play at all. I don't think even, because Frank Kaminsky was just going off. I don't even think DeAndre Ayton, let's see. No, they just stuck with Frank Kaminsky, who's got 12 points. Frank Kaminsky's about to get a triple-double. Now, I'm not complaining. I have him in my showdown lineup and in my fourth quarter showdown. How many does he have in my showdown lineup right now? Yeah, I'm literally like on the edge of cashing with a 0 from Javon Carter. 43 for Frank Kaminsky. The winning lineup in that showdown tournament is going to have, Kaminsky at captain. Wow. What a slate. What a slate. So, DeAndre Ayton was on pace for a really good game. I was going back to the wall there because I was like, he burned me last night. I cannot live with him going off and me not having him. So I went back to the wall there. If that game would have stayed close, he would have had probably close to 50. But yeah, I can't predict blowouts like that. So that's it, guys. Yeah, there's a lot of landmines on the slate. What was the winning winning score? Yeah, 290. Next house is 278. So it's like, it was low scoring. Yeah, he had Terrence Mann was a snowflake in there. He had Trent, Kuzma. Yeah, Plumlee, right? Again, I think I made a mistake there with Hero, Crowder, Jackson. Ugly slate. So that's it for the look back, guys. Hoping to bounce back here for this 10-game slate. It's been a little bit of a rough patch for me, not going to lie. Last 4 or 5 days had some bad luck, and then just weird slate tonight. But hoping for the luck to turn around on this 10-game slate. And I think it's a pretty interesting slate. So let's talk about it. First, let's take a look at the Vegas odds that we have out for it, and then we can go team by team, talk about the players that I'm liking. So Atlanta and Washington, a pretty high over on here, 232. Obviously, Atlanta's only 4.5-point favorites. I guess Westbrook is back, but still that Washington team is so bad. Pacers and Hornets, it's a 220 over under. The Pacers are 3-point favorites. Cavs and Knicks, a 206.5 over under. Pretty low one there. Cavs are 1-point favorites. Bucks and Pelicans, a 228.5 over under. The Bucks are 7-point favorites. Kings, Raptors, 229.5 over under. The Raptors are 5.5-point favorites. Nets and Thunders, a 230.5 over under. The Nets are 8.5-point favorites. A little bit of blowout risk in that one. And then Nuggets, Spurs, 224.5 over under. The Nuggets are 4-point favorites. So we'll start off with the Pacers, and the guy I think looks really good here, Domantas Sabonis at 9-2. He left that game 2 games ago due to injury, did not return, but came back and played 37 minutes. So I'm expecting, the normal high 30s to maybe even 40 minutes for Sabonis. It's a good matchup. I like him a good amount here. He is definitely my favorite play on the Pacers side, and I like him a lot. Malcolm Brogdon at 8-4, I think is a decent play. 60 and 45 fantasy points in back-to-back games. Definitely viable. Do prefer Sabonis, but you could run both if you really want to get contrarian. Miles Turner at 7-2. Okay, but I'm probably not going to do it. Jeremy Lamb was pretty popular last slate, only played 21 minutes. The minutes have been up and down for him, so hard to feel really confident about that. And the rest of the guys I'm probably not going to get to, like Justin Holiday. Just did play 38 minutes the last game. His minutes also been a little up and down. 25, 39, 30, then 38. So it's like, yeah, you can take a shot in Lamb. You can take a shot in Holiday, but don't really think we have to do it on this 10-game slate. On the Charlotte side, so Gordon Hayward, 7K does seem a little bit underpriced. He was a bust last game, played 40 minutes, only went for 25 fantasy points. It's not the best matchup, but I just hate this Charlotte. I really do not like this team because literally every player on this team is just up and down. Like Gordon Hayward has a ceiling of like 60 and a floor of like 20. So like, I don't know if I can do it in cash games. I've been going back and forth on, is he a cash game play? I mean, the minutes are there for him. I don't know. I think you could still go there in cash, but it's, feeling you're not going to like feel amazing about it. Rozier, Graham, I'm not going to do it on this slate. No, thank you on PJ Washington. LaMelo Ball is at 5'8". Just minutes, right? 21, 22. Hard to feel really confident about that. The guy that I do like, and I think is still underpriced, is Cody Zeller. He started the last game and played 30 minutes. So if we get anywhere near 30 minutes again from Cody Zeller, then he's a good value play. So I do have a good amount of interest there in Zeller at that price. That's it for the Charlotte side. So I'm going to do Atlanta and Washington. So Atlanta, Trae Young, I like a good amount for GPPs. We know with Trae, the floor is somewhat low on him, but he's getting a ton of shot attempts up. Like, look at this, 26, 22, 23, and 22 shot attempts. He's gotten a floor of assists, and it's got a fantastic spot against Washington. So I like the upside here a good amount on Trae Young. Definitely one of my favorite GPP plays. Clint Capela's overpriced. There's no doubt about it. He finally came back down to earth. I was telling you guys, like, he's not going to continue to go for 50. So, at this price, he's still viable, but just a GPP play. Did only play 30 minutes the last game, too, which is not great. Right, previous games, he was in the mid-30s, so that is a little concerning. Collins is all right. DeAndre Hunter at 6'3", he played 45 minutes of 40 in regulation. If there's no Reddish again, I expect, high 30s to maybe even 40 minutes from Hunter, which makes him a decent play in that range. And that's probably it for me. I don't think I get to anyone else on this team. On the Washington side, so what we got to monitor here is the status of Westbrook and if he's going to be limited. Like, I assume he's good to go, but is there going to be a limitation on him? We've seen minutes limits on him in back-to-back games. Maybe they lift it now. If there's no minutes restriction on Russell Westbrook at 9K, I think he's a really solid play because, when there's been no restrictions, he's been playing mid to high 30s minutes. And if there's no restrictions in Westbrook, I think he's one of the better plays. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. If there is a minutes limit, then obviously we can look at Brad Beal, who went absolutely off that last game. Went for 70 fantasy points. He has that type of upside. He's going to get a ton of shot attempts up. 29, 28, and 37 shot attempts. It is absolutely insane. They got a good matchup too. So, like, both the guards for Washington at the top are viable. The value on Washington, I'm completely staying away from these guys. We have Bertans, Rui, a bunch of guys back here. There's no way I'm risking it with any of those guys. So I'm just going to take a wait-and-see approach to see how kind of the value works out there for Washington. Milwaukee, Giannis Antetokounmpo at 10-8. I think it's a perfectly solid play if you can get to him. Should play. He's in close games. He's playing over 35 minutes, which is really good to see, which does raise his ceiling. So yeah, I think Giannis is a solid play there. Middleton, Drew Holiday, secondary plays for me. Middleton at 8-4. I mean, he's had some upside. He went for 52 the last game, so like I think he's decent if you can't afford Giannis and you want someone on this team. Brolo, Bobby Portis. Minutes are going up and down for these guys. Brolo's played more recently. I mean, don't love it. He's kind of score independent. Bobby Portis at 4-2. You can take a shot at him, but like I said, 14, 16, 27, and then back down to 17. Hard to feel really, really good about it. On the Pelicans side, so Ingram, Zion at 8K and 7-6 respectively. I'm going to give that edge to Zion. Again, I just think he has a little bit of a higher floor. He's basically, averaging close to 40 a night last like 5-6 games. I think decent play there. Big news here is Lonzo Ball is questionable. So this does change things. If Lonzo Ball's out, we could look to Bledsoe, revenge game narrative against his former team. And look at these minutes here. 34 and then 36 minutes for Bledsoe. And the price hasn't moved. So, like, will we get those minutes again? I'm not sure, but it's looking good, right? It's going in the right direction as minutes. A revenge game spot, too. So, like, I actually do have some interest here in Bledsoe. And you guys know where I'm going to if Lonzo's out. Oh, yeah. I'm going to NAW. 4.2K would be too cheap if he starts at point guard. Would really like NAW, so we'll have to keep an eye on the status of Lonzo Ball. Steven Adams at 5-6. Went back to 33 minutes, 30-plus fantasy points. As long as this game stays competitive, I expect about 30 minutes from Steven Adams, which I think makes him a pretty safe play. And that's probably it. I mean, Josh Hart, JJ Redick, you can take shots on these guys. Like, Josh Hart probably be 4-4 would be a decent play if Lonzo's out. He's been playing mid to high 20s minutes. Again, definitely viable there. Let's move on to Cleveland and New York. So Cleveland, there's not a ton I love. Drummond went nuts in limited time, 28 minutes, went for 59 fantasy points. Shot the ball 9 of 24 for a big, which is just terrible. He also had 2 blocks and 5 steals. So it's like, all right, we're not going to get that again. I expect, around high 20s minutes, and he is in play for GPPs. He can get it done. He's been really good. 3 of the last 4 games, 50, 48, and 59. So you can definitely go to Drummond and GPPs. I don't know if I trust it in cash games. Larry Nance is once again questionable if he plays. Definitely takes a hit to like the secondary plays. If he's out, I think we can make the argument for Taurean Prince, who played 30 minutes the last game. So yeah, Prince would be a viable value play. Sexton and Garland, I think, are decent options. Sexton had a big game last time out against Detroit, went for 44 fantasy points. 6-7 does seem a little bit underpriced for him. And then Darius Garland, too, started and played 31 minutes. I think both the guards for Cleveland look like pretty decent options on this one. But that's it on the New York side. So Julius Randle at 9-3, I think, seems priced about right. Should get mid-30s minutes. Don't love the play. RJ Barrett, price is coming down on him. I think he's like decent, should get high 30s minutes as well. Those two normally will get the big minutes. Not really interested in Robinson or Alfred Payton. Burke seems priced about right. You can take a shot in Emmanuel Quickley for GPPs. He's played 24 and 23 minutes last couple games, which is good to see. Now, he did shoot 1 of 11, so kind of at his floor game. But like I said, he's aggressive when he's out on the court. Not a cash-in play by any means, but you can go there for GPPs if you want to. You have the Austin Rivers, 10 of 10 start. I think you only finished with 32 fantasy points. He's at 3.8. I'm not going to do it. Like, You can go back there if you want, but I'll pass. Nerlens Noel, I don't think is like the worst value play. He's hovering around like 18 to 22 minutes, somewhere in that range, and has a decent high floor. So I think he's okay if you want to punt the position. Sacramento and Toronto. So De'Aaron Fox at 8.5K seems priced about right. The good thing with him is the minutes. He shot 4 of 17 last game, still for 44. So Fox is viable, but more of a contrarian play. Rashawn Holmes at 6.6. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, should play mid-30s minutes. Always in play for GBPs. Buddy, I'll pass on. Harrison Barnes at 6K. I mean, it's just like this guy goes from being really good to start the season, then he like cools off and back to being good again. I don't know what to make of him. You can take a shot on him. I just don't feel comfortable with it. Marvin Bagley had a nice game, but only played 22 minutes. There was no foul trouble too, so that is concerning. I'll probably stay away unless we get more minutes. Now, Halliburton actually got extended a bit off the bench, 31 and 30 minutes in back-to-back games. You could realistically go with him if you're confident that he's going to continue to get about the 30-minute mark. Whiteside, I will bring this up if you want to get really risky. He played 16 minutes the last game. So it's like, I'm not even convinced that he's going to be in this rotation, that he'll play. He could get a DNP, but he's a good point per minute guy. If we get like 15 minutes out of Whiteside, you could see like 20 fantasy points from him. So it's like, you can make the argument for him in GPPs just because he's a good point per minute guy. On the Toronto side, so got to keep an eye on OG Anunoby status, but I actually like all three of the main guys here, Van Fleet, Siakam, and Lowry. It's a great matchup, and they're all a little bit underpriced, I think. Van Fleet shot 3 of 17 last game, still went for 46 fantasy points. Now again, did have 4 steals and 3 blocks, but like, he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. It's a great matchup. I think Siakam at 7.3 looks decent. He's been a little up and down, but like I said, love targeting players against this Kings team. And Kyle Lowry, all three I think are firmly in play. Don't mind getting to one of those guys. OG Anunoby, again, he's questionable. If he's out, I think Norman Powell is firmly in play. Norman Powell's been playing enormous minutes. 37, 40, and 41 minutes. He's actually been doing a decent job getting some peripheral stats too. So like, I'm intrigued by Powell for sure if there's no OG Anunoby. Chris Boucher barely played last game. So again, hard to feel confident with that. He did have 20 fantasy points in 13 minutes, but just the minutes are just too up and down on him. And that's probably it for me. Like Aaron Baines, how many minutes did he play? Did play 23 minutes. I guess if he starts again, you could punt with him, but it's like 23, 17, 15, 23. I think you could. Again, he's kind of a similar play to like a Nerlens Noel. Definitely viable if you want to punt the position. Philadelphia and Minnesota. So, Joel Embiid, currently questionable. This is huge news because this is a great matchup. If Joel Embiid plays, really do like him at this price. If he misses, I'm probably going back to Ben Simmons. Can we just talk about a triple-double and 53 fantasy points with Joel Embiid in the lineup in a tough matchup? I play him in a fantastic matchup with no Embiid, and he picks up but so mad about that still. Like I'm never gonna live that one down. But yeah, if Joel Embiid is out, I think Ben Simmons is one of the best plays at 7.7K and just a smash spot. And I also would really like Tobias Harris below 7K too. So those two would be two of the better plays in the slate, in my opinion, if there's no Joel Embiid. Seth Curry's at 4.4. Did play 31 minutes the last game. You could go to him. He is, kind of buying low. Dwight Howard at 4.2. He was the chalk that last slate or 2 slates ago, and then got benched. It would probably be a combination of him and Tony Bradley. If you want to take a shot and like the GBP play, would be Tony Bradley if Embiid is out. So those two centers would be viable for sure if there's no Joel Embiid. And that's probably it for me. Like Shake Milton's at 4K. And the minutes for these guards are they're not great. Maxey, not playing a ton either. Like, I don't really want to play Danny Green, who is really reliant on his 3-point shooting. So for me, if Embiid is out, it's Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and then whoever starts the center. If Joel Embiid is in, I like Embiid the most. And then, Ben Simmons would be still viable below 8K because I like that price for him either way, but would be, I think, look a lot better if there's no Embiid. On the Minnesota side, so no Cat still. D'Angelo Russell once again questionable. If D'Lo's out, then there is some blowout risk here for sure. This Minnesota team is not great. Malik Beasley at 6'4" would be the go-to guys at 41 and 36 fantasy points in the last couple games. So I'm not playing huge minutes, only 30 in back-to-back games, which is a little bit concerning. But yeah, I think he would be certainly playable for GPP. Same with Naz Reid. We know like he's a decent point per minute guy if he can stay out of foul trouble. Had 5 blocks and 3 steals, went for 44 fantasy points. If Joel Embiid plays, I am not going to him. If Embiid is out, and then I think you can make the argument because I'm a little bit more confident he can stay out of foul trouble. Rubio didn't play a ton starting for D'Lo, so I'll pass there. Anthony Edwards had a nice game off the bench, did shoot the ball 19 times. Like this guy, he's an aggressive player when he's out there. So if D'Lo's out again, I expect, high 20s, maybe even 30 minutes from Anthony Edwards. You could go to him in GPPs. He's had 24, 21, and 40 fantasy points last 3 games. My issue with him is reliant on scoring, not going to do a ton of the peripheral stats. And then I will mention Jordan McLaughlin. He's at 3.8K. If there's no D'Lo, he's played, with games without D'Angelo Russell, he's played 20, 22, and 26 minutes. So again, more of a risky value play, but I think you could punt with him. I'm moving on to Brooklyn and OKC. So this game's got some blowout risk, but the top 3 guys for Brooklyn are all firmly in play. Now it's kind of like good luck trying to figure out which one's going to be. It was Harden last game with his first big game, really, with all 3 playing. It's been KD that's been the most consistent, and Kyrie is the cheapest of the bunch. So it's like, yes, all 3 of these guys are in play. You get the revenge game order for KD and Harden if you guys are into that. I think you could go with one of those guys if you feel really good about it. But my whole issue is it's just hard to pinpoint which one's going to be on a night-to-night basis. So, that's my only concern. Now, 8-7 for Kyrie is playable. KD below 10K looks decent. And you got Harden at 10-3. So, all 3 of those guys are in play for sure. But I don't know if one, really, really stands out. The value I'm going to stay away from when all 3 are healthy. I don't think we have to do it. On the OKC side, so if you think this game stays competitive, or if you're targeting one of those Brooklyn stars, I think you might want to run it back with SGA. Now, my worry with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is he's only played 31 and 32 minutes in close games. He was playing high 30s minutes a few games ago, so that he's still getting the production, but if he's only going to play 32 minutes a game, that makes him riskier. Now, the matchup is really good here against Brooklyn, so I do have some interest in him for GPPs. It's just a matter of, do you think this game can stay close? Now, Al Horford, we finally got a ceiling game from him. Honestly, I thought Al Horford was going to have a pretty good season this year. He won for 50. So, he does have that type of upside playing the center position. We finally saw it. This is a good matchup against Brooklyn. I like targeting bigs against this Brooklyn team. So, I think Al Horford at 5.9K is viable. Wouldn't expect 50 again from him, but I think he's in play for sure. The rest of the OKC guys, no George Hill. So Maldion started and actually played 30 minutes. He's a lower usage guy, but he would for sure be in play if he starts again. Thought Diallo would play more, but he's only played 21 and 18 minutes the last couple games, so viable GPP play. You could always take a shot in Dort, Roby. Both those guys have flashed a little bit of upside, but they're really inconsistent. Clippers and Magic. So, it's hard to break down right now because Kawhi, Paul George, Pat Beverly are all questionable. If they are all out, does one play stand out for me? Not really. They all seem priced decently. I guess it would probably be Reggie for me again. Reggie's been their most consistent player so far with all those guys out. 46 and 37 fantasy points. So probably would be Reggie for me. But yeah, other than that, I don't have a ton of interest. Terrence Mann at 5.6 would be all right too. But I don't know if we have to do it. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. If Kawhi, Paul George are in and there's no limitations, you can take a shot in one of them, but don't know if they would be a priority for me either. On the Orlando side, so Nikola Vucevic at 8.8K, I think is always a safe play. 48, 45, 57, 40 fans points the last 4 games. He has a pretty high floor. Kind of had a floor game for himself against Sacramento, but yeah, he's always in play. Aaron Gordon was pretty popular last night and was a complete bust. If you want to go back to the ball for him in GPPs, don't hate it. Fournier has surprisingly been really good since he's come back, playing about 30 to 35 minutes. If you want to, ride this hot streak, you can. I'm not going to do it, but I get it if you go there. Cole Anthony's at 5.4, playing about 30-ish minutes. I think he's an okay option as well, but not someone I'm super, super excited about. And that's it for Orlando. Let's move on to Denver and San Antonio. So Nikola Jokic at 10.1. Price coming down on him a bit. Now, only 43 and 42 fantasy points in back-to-back games, but you could see a big game from him in this matchup. I do like the price for him, so I have more interest in Jokic now at this price point. I think he's a good play at the top. Murray, MPJ, definitely in play for GPPs. They are up and down, though. The value guys for Denver, these guys all seem all right. With JaMychal Green, Barton, Gary Harris, Millsap, Monte Morris. if you land on one of those guys, that's fine. But yeah, they're just like secondary plays for me. On the San Antonio side, so they're tempting me here. San Antonio's tempting me with these prices. I am pretty high in the Spurs for tomorrow's slate, and that is a scary feeling. DeMar DeRozan at 6.8K, that's just too cheap. In games, he stays out of foul trouble, should play mid-30s minutes. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. It's a good matchup here. I do like DeMar DeRozan a good amount, and I really like DeJounte Murray too at 6.1K. He played 36 minutes that last game. Another guy that can stuff a stat sheet. Didn't have the best shooting game, still on for 32 fantasy points. So I like DeJounte Murray, and I like DeMar DeRozan a good amount here in this game, and that is a scary feeling. Keldon is viable for GPPs. We've seen some upside from him. He's been a little more inconsistent. I actually have some interest in Aldridge too. That's really weird for me to say, but like 5.5 for LaMarcus Aldridge, I think we get close to 30 minutes from him. Does seem a little bit underpriced. Now, he's not been the best rebounding the ball, but like I think you could go to LMA here at that price. Mills at 4.8, Rudy Gay at 4.4, don't know if I have to do it. Lonnie Walker at 4.1 has been getting some decent run, about 30 minutes. I think you could use him as a value play. Vassell, his minutes went down the last game, so if you played him last night, you got popped. Jakob Poeltl, if LMA gets in some foul trouble, he could play a little bit more. Again, kind of like a Nerlens Noel play, I think around 18 to 20 minutes. Decent point per minute guy, so you could use him for value, or if you think LMA gets in some foul trouble. Last game here, Dallas and Utah. So Luka Doncic kind of had a floor game, 45 fantasy points. Again, it's not really the best matchup against the Jazz, but I think that will lower the ownership. People will see that 45 fantasy point game. People will see that he's playing Utah again, and they're going to avoid him. But I don't mind going back to the wall for Luka because we just know the upside in basically any matchup is like 70 plus for him. So like him for GPPs. I'll stay away from Porzingis. They are now healthy. Like they got a lot of guys back, so I'm just going to stay away from the Dallas value as well. Now, the Utah side, I'm pretty high on this Utah team if Donovan Mitchell's out. And Donovan Mitchell is currently questionable, so we will see. If Donovan Mitchell plays, I think there's like the top 4 guys are decent options. Maybe the top 3 guys, or I would say Mitchell, Gobert, and Conley, because in the games like Mitchell, Mitchell has been healthy. Clarkson's been not playing a ton recently, so I don't know if I go to Clarkson if Mitchell is out, or if Mitchell's in. But if Mitchell's out, Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson look like really good options. Mike Conley, more of the cash game play, right? He has a higher floor due to his peripheral stats. And then Jordan Clarkson would be the GPP play. But he's going to shoot the ball a ton. And if Mitchell's out, like he will be very aggressive. He played 33 minutes that last game. Would really like Clarkson and would really like Conley and would really like Rudy Gobert too. Now, 54 and 68 fantasy points. We are most likely not going to get close to that again from him. But it's like the price didn't move. And especially if Derek Favors is out. If Derek Favors is out, Rudy Gobert played 37 minutes. So like he had to play more because like they weren't comfortable with the backup. So like if Favors is out again, that would boost Gobert. So like the top 3 guys I really like for Utah. And Utah's normally a team I don't have a ton of interest. Again, that is assuming Donovan Mitchell is out. Bojan Bogdanovic, I will pass. Joe Ingles was one of my favorite value plays last night. He had a great shooting game. Went for 41 fantasy points. He started. If he starts again for no Donovan Mitchell, I think he's a solid play at that price. So I like a lot here for Utah. And even Royce O'Neal will be viable too at 4.6. Played 35 minutes. So like, yeah, Gobert, Clarkson, Conley. I think if Mitchell's out, there are 3 of the better plays in the slate. And then even Ingles, O'Neal are viable as well. Really, I would be pretty high on this Utah team. And that would be scary. That's scary to say. But yeah, if Mitchell's out, I would like those guys a good amount. But yeah, that's going to do it for the video today, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I would really appreciate it if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when to upload videos, you know when to go live. Thanks again. Have a great night, guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow in the live stream.